Hi everyone, very good evening guys, and welcome to this short session where we'll be discussing 5 spotters. Well, I had put up the blank 5 spotter images on Telegram, and I want that in case you've not seen the PDF, first go through the PDF, attempt the spotters yourself, and then get back to this video and see the solutions and all the answers that I've put up over here. So yes, what are the 5 spotters that we have? And the first one that I gave to all of you was this. So no history was obviously needed over here because there's a very classical slice or section of the brain that has been shown, and there's alongside that there's another histopath image. So first we'll analyze the answer to this. First and foremost answer to this is glioblastoma. Now why did I select it as glioblastoma? First and foremost, earlier it was known as GBM, means GB for glioblastoma, and M was referred to as multiform. However, now with the advancements in the updates that have happened, the word multiform has been removed. So now it's no longer multiform, now it's no longer GBM, it is only GB, and that is glioblastoma. That's the 2016 update of CNS tumors. So what is glioblastoma? This is a tumor, if I ask you in terms of age, this is a tumor that is seen in adults. And if I ask you in terms of the prognosis, it's said to be the highest grade tumor, means it is a grade 4 tumor. And when I say grade 4 tumor, the prognosis for the patient is very bad. So it's a high grade tumor. Now let me look at the gross finding. I see that there is a tumor over here, and it's not limited to one side of the brain. It has also crossed the midline and gone to the other side of the brain. So basically this tumor has another name given to it. It is also known as the butterfly glioma. When I say butterfly glioma, that primarily means that it crosses the midline, and that is why it starts looking like this butterfly tumor, and that's why you've given it this name. Now, when I look at this under the microscope, there are two very characteristic findings that I'll see. Firstly, I see that there is this section of or this area over here which is entirely pink. Pink means it has only some eosinophilic pink material. There is no blue color material, no nuclei. These are all the dead cells. This is all said to be the necrosis. Let's label it once again. This area, but have you seen the necrosis is not in a straight line. The necrosis is a little wavy like this. So basically it looks like a snake, and that is why we call it serpentine necrosis. Please remember, this is a case of serpentine necrosis that you are seeing over here. Okay, after this, what do we see around this serpentine necrosis? If I now see the next layer of it, I see that there are a lot of blue color dot cells or tumor cells which are surrounding that necrosis. And what is this known as? This is said to be pseudo-palisading. Why are we calling it pseudo-palisading? Because it is around a necrosis. It is around a necrosis. I call it pseudo-palisading. Pseudo-palisading of what? Pseudo-palisading of the tumor cells. So remember, there's a serpentine necrosis and there's a pseudo-palisading of the tumor cells. That is what makes it a glioblastoma. Actually, there's a third finding also, any body that you see, and that is your homework for the day. So other than these two findings which I have marked over here, there's another thing which is some bodies are seen in glioblastoma, which all of you need to type in the comments, and I'm sure all of you know the answer. So that was spotter number 1. Let's move on to spotter number 2. I did not give you a history for it, but I hope you guys were able to, assess and come to an answer. There were 2 images given. In case you need a history for this second spotter, it's an ovarian tumor. It's an ovarian tumor, and for those who did not identify it without a history, I hope now after a history you do get to know the image number 1. What is the first image showing me? The tumor cells are arranged in a round manner, means the tumor cells are arranged in a round manner like this. And if you see, there is a pinkish material in the center. There is a pinkish material in the center. What is this known as? Guys, this is known as the Call-Exner bodies. The tumor cells in a round manner and pink material in the center, Call-Exner bodies. Now when I look at the next image, I can see the same collection bodies again. I can see the same round arrangement of tumor cells, and I can see the pinkish material again in the center. But apart from that, I also see that some of the nuclei, see, look at the one that I've encircled. Some of the nuclei have a line inside them, something like this. And what is this appearance known as? This appearance is known as the coffee bean appearance. So now when I put both of these two things together, the collection bodies, the coffee bean appearance, what is the diagnosis of this? And in the ovary, we call it granulosa cell tumor. This is referred to as granulosa cell tumor. Okay, having said this, now let me move on to image number 3. Again, something which I gave as a spotter. I gave you the low power of it, I gave you the high power of it, and I did not give you any history because genuinely it's a classical spotter which you should have picked up without any history. So what are these? These are known as the signet ring cells. These are known as signet ring cells, and first I want to draw a signet ring cell and actually explain what happens in it. So let me first draw a normal cell. For example, this is a normal cell, so I'll draw all the cytoplasm inside it. And apart from a normal cell, the nucleus is something I always draw in the center. That is how a normal cell looks like. Versus what happens when I'm talking about a signet ring cell. In a signet ring cell, something like a ring has to form, right? So now this is the cell, but the nucleus is not in the center. The nucleus has come to the periphery like a ring, like a diamond ring. The nucleus has basically come and has been pushed. Why has it been pushed to the periphery? Who has had that guts to push it to the periphery? So you'll say, ma'am, someone else has come and is sitting inside. Who is this someone else? This someone else is mucin. Remember, it is mucin that has occupied the cell, and because this mucin has come and sat over here like an unwanted guest, so the nucleus in his own house has been pushed to one corner, has been pushed to the periphery, and that is what we call as the signet ring appearance. Please remember the same thing when I show you over here. It's very similar. Look at this cell over here, and can you see the nucleus is at the periphery and blue color mucin? Same way you pick up any cell in this entire slide, everywhere you will see that the nucleus is at the periphery and it is full of mucin. Higher power, same thing. Nucleus is at the periphery and mucin. So where all can we see this? All of these are sheets of signet ring cells. Now you will say that, ma'am, from which organ was this taken? That will make a lot of difference. For example, if I say that this biopsy has come from the ovary, which tumor of the ovary has signet ring cells? Everyone knows it is the Krukenberg tumor, the metastatic tumor, right? Krukenberg tumor of the ovary has signet ring cells. If I say that, okay, which is the tumor in the stomach? Which tumor in the stomach can have signet ring cells? So there's something known as diffuse gastric cancer. Diffuse gastric cancer is very famous for having these signet ring cells. Or in other words, can I say any mucin secreting tumor, like there's a colon cancer. So I say mucin secreting colon cancer can have signet ring cells, or there's an appendix cancer. I say mucin secreting appendiceal cancer can show me signet ring cells. So as long as mucin is there, signet ring cells can be seen. So even in a Krukenberg tumor, mucin is there. In a diffuse gastric cancer, mucin is there. That is why signet ring cells are seen. So that was spotter number 3, and I hope that is clear. Let's move on to spotter number 4. I was very kind on giving you a very nice hint also over here. So even, without having read it or being able to see and identify, even with this much you could have. So this was actually a pap smear taken from a 30-year-old female. And what is this pap smear showing me? Number 1, it shows you a cell here, and number 2, a cell over here, and they've given you something. There's a clue on the stage. So basically this tells me that yes, I'm dealing with something known as clue cells, and my theory tells me what? Clue cells are seen where? Clue cells are seen in bacterial vaginosis. Bacterial vaginosis shows me clue cells. How do I identify the clue? What is the clue that I'm talking about? So look at a normal cell of the cervix. You've taken a pap smear, so you've got cervical cells, right? Cervix epithelium. So look at the normal cervix epithelium, and normal you see this polygonal kind of a cell, all seems well. Now when you look at the same cell, you'll say the shape is okay, the same polygonal shape, but this time it's got some dot 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 structures which are stuck on top of it. It's looking like this. It's the same cell with the nucleus, but this time it's got some dot 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 structure which is stuck on top of it. And what are those? These are nothing but the cocobacilli. These are nothing but the bacteria, the cocobacilli, and this cell, this entire cell is referred to as the clue cell. This is what will give me the diagnosis of bacterial vaginosis. The clue cell over here is very, very important. I hope everyone's got it. One more thing. So now that we are talking about bacterial vaginosis, one more homework. So today I'm giving you two homeworks to put in the chat below and the comments below, and you have to do that. That's not an activity that I give for any judgment purposes or trying to test your knowledge, but it's only sometimes when we say and we write and we type, we remember it for a longer time, and that's the only purpose of giving you these homeworks. So one homework I've already given to you today. What was the homework? You had to tell me what bodies are seen in glioblastoma. That was homework number 1. Homework number 2 for the day is that I've already told you that clue cells are seen in bacterial vaginosis. And what are clue cells? All those bacteria stuck over here. The same bacteria, listen to your homework, the same bacteria that is there in the background, when the same bacteria is there in the background of the slide, what background is it known as? What is the fancy name given to the background? All of those who are fond of movies should be able to give me an answer to that. So I've given you an extremely big hint over here. So the same bacteria, when they are present in the background, there's some name, fancy name given to it, which you will tell me. So 2 homeworks for the day, and you all, I know you know the answer, but you have to type and tell me, because then it goes in our long-term memory. Spotter number 4 done, clue cells. Last spotter of the day. This is especially for the second year students, because this is like a pass-fail kind of a gross image that you get in the exam. Ye galat ho gaya, then no one can save you, right? So you have to get it right. तो ये क्या है? So you will say that, ma'am, there are multiple vesicles, they are filled with fluid, grape-like vesicles. And when I say that term, when I use the word grape-like vesicles, I know for a fact that we are talking about hydatid cyst, right? Hydatidiform mole, I'm sorry. We are talking about hydatidiform mole. Now, why did I say hydatid cyst first? Because this is something which they ask you in the exam. Okay, whenever I use the word hydated over here, like for example, I'm saying hydatidiform mole, H mole, everyone knows, partial mole, complete mole, वो वाला story है. But when I say hydatid cyst, I'm using the same word. But you'll say, ma'am, उधर भी cyst होता है. Everyone knows ना, hydatid cyst, echinococcus, correct? So over there also there's a cyst, over there also there's a fluid. So if I just give you this one picture this much, how will I get to know what kind of cyst or what kind of mole am I talking about? A very, very classical identifying feature is in hydatid cyst. I want all of you, because 2 days back I showed you the spotter of hydatid cyst, right? And what was the color of the cyst wall? I want all of you to recall from there. The color of the cyst wall was pearly white out there, which is not the case that you see with hydatidiform mole. Hydatidiform mole, you see these tiny, multiple size, varying size vesicles. They look like that bunch of grapes. That is why you call it hydatidiform mole. It's like a bunch of grape-like vesicles, but they don't have that nice pearly white color. Now, visit your PDF from 2 days back where we saw hydatid cyst, where we saw the cyst over there. It was nice, shiny, pearly white in color. Both of them will have fluid, both of them are vesicles, both of them are cystic. But if only one very high power photo is given to me, then pearly white is going to help me in the diagnosis of hydatid cyst. यहाँ पर ऐसा कुछ pearly white नहीं था. This is a classical case of hydatidiform mole. And how can I further prove this? I'll have to look at it under the microscope. How does hydatidiform mole or H mole look under the microscope? Hydatidiform mole, you could see these vesicles. They were filled with water, they were filled with fluid. So I have to see villi, and those villi are not normal sized villi. They are also all white, empty. They are all white, empty, means they are all dilated villi. These are all dilated villi, and I call them hydropic villi because they are filled with water. They are filled with water, and now I think I can kind of correlate that because these villi are hydropic and filled with water, that is why I'm getting that kind of a vesicle, grape-like vesicle appearance, right? Now, one more thing which is not very well seen over here, but I'll still try and make you analyze. So whenever I draw these villi, so first you'll say that fine ma'am, these were the balloon kind of hydropic water balloons that you had to draw, the hydropic villi. What are the cells that they are lined with? So you will always see that there will be one row of cells which will have 1 1 1 1 nucleus. Can you see, as you trace, you will have one row of cells which has 1 1 1 1 single nucleus, like a lining all throughout. These set of cells are known as cytotrophoblasts. Remember, cytotrophoblasts are going to be mononuclear. They are going to have a single cell. They are going to have a single nucleus versus you will see another set of cells, and that will be lots of nuclei. Like this, multinucleated. What is that multinucleated cell known as? Like you see one over here. You'll see a bunch of nuclei together. That is known as syncytium. That is known as syncytiotrophoblast. Syncytiotrophoblast is the name given to it. So what did I learn? That the single nucleus wala mononuclear cells are cytotrophoblasts, and the multinucleated ones are like a syncytium. Syncytium means a group, a fusion. So lots of nuclei would refer to it as a syncytiotrophoblast. So this is a classical case of hydatidiform mole, and yes, that was your last spotter that you had. So I hope most of you did analyze them well, and you were able to get the 5 spotters right in the very first place even before you started with this video, and I hope you just got more clarity after listening to this. So thank you so much guys for joining in. I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning on the Unacademy app, and we have our usual kickstart morning ritual, but with a little bit of a twist. Tomorrow I've decided to put up some mixed bag MCQs. It's been quite a while that we did mixed bag MCQs, right? So randomly expecting anything from anywhere is also a very good way of analyzing your preparation. So tomorrow we do that mixed bag of MCQs. Morning 7:30, same ritual, Unacademy app. So Saturday special, I hope everyone's ready. So I hope to see everyone tomorrow morning. And then on Sunday morning, you have the AIMT. So there's no kickstart morning on Sunday. Sunday morning, you guys will be prepping up for the AIMT, which is at 9 o'clock. So I hope you guys are preparing for that as well. Okay, thank you so much for joining in, and hope to see you tomorrow morning in class. All the best. Good night.